ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الحاربين، والصلاة والسلام وتحية والإكرام على النبي الأمي المكي المدني الهاشمي الذي سمي في السماوات بأحمد وفي الأراضين بأبي القاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الأطهرين سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأراضين روحي وأرواح العالمين تراب محمد الفداء. رحمة الله على محبيهم ومواليهم وشيعتهم أجمعين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم الملعونين. Amma ba'd, for the happiness of Hazrat Zahra Marziyah, for the enlightenment of the graves of the Ummaheen, of the graves of the Shahada, Ulama, Siddiqeen, for the safety of the followers of Ahl-ul-Bayt around the world, and for the safety and the hastening of the reappearance of Hazrat Baqiyatullah al-A'zam Arwahum al-Fida, please recite your loudest salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
All praise due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wa his Rahman and wa his Rahim. We had some parts of yesterday's discussion that remained, and I want to finish those parts off before moving on to the subject matter for today's lecture. We began discussing the 4 ways a person can reduce that munkar, that ill, internally and externally within society. So the first thing is that you highlight the sin and understand what the effect of that sin is. And we spoke at some great length about that yesterday. The second is to support or increase the amount of support that you give to those good actions. So those things that you're already doing, to strengthen them, to continue them, and allow yourself slowly to move away from the bad. And then within society itself, to support the movement or support the good that people are doing before we try and guide them towards that which is better for them. The third thing that we said was replace it with an alternative. The monks, people that look towards the monks and they wanted to be like them. Islam gave them the opportunity of i'tikaf. It said you can't live a life of spiritual seclusion or celibacy, but you can have i'tikaf, 3 days, 10 days of that sort. So we spoke about that yesterday as well, and it's really a matter of teaching oneself. Like the training the nafs is like training a wild animal, because it is, in essence, man's animalistic desire. It's not that it is inherently bad or it is something that will go towards ill. Rather, it is something that is one's animalistic desire. So, all animals in the animal kingdom possess these 3 powers: anger, imagination, and desire. And it's what enables them to survive. It's that survival instinct that every existent has. And that survival instinct you see within the animal kingdom is that when they're chasing food or they're going after food, it's not, they don't go after the fittest amongst the buffalo that the lions are chasing. If they're chasing a herd of wildebeest, they don't go for the one and think, oh, you know what, that one looks really healthy, let's go and eat that one. No, they go for the one that's injured, or the one that's slightly fat, or the one that's, slightly older and can't move as fast, because they want to exert less energy. They're lazy. So this animal desire that exists within every human being is just lazy. It's not bad, it's lazy. And so when Hazrat Yusuf says, "Inna nafs al-amaratum bis-su'," that surely the nafs al-amara is inclined towards evil, it's not because the nafs al-amara is evil, but rather that evil or sin is always the easy option. When you look at 2 courses of action, one is ubudiyya, servitude to Allah, the other is the one of sin. the sin will always be the easier option. And so that nafs al-amara is inclined towards ease. It's not inclined towards evil, it's inclined towards an easy life. And so that's why it will try and convince a person into doing sin, because it doesn't want it to go for the easy. See, when you're presented with two options, to pray or not to pray, the nafs will say, leave it, it's late, do qada some other time. Yeah, it will try and bring, because it's lazy. It's not that it's evil. And so shaitan, he whispers to this lazy nafs. He just says, shaitan himself will only be punished for that one sajda that he didn't do. The rest of all of mankind that he's misguided, he's not punished for that. Because all he's done is whispered. All he did is, don't pray. And I went, okay, I won't pray. He said, eat this. And I went, okay, I'll eat it. Yeah? And that's all he did. He just whispered to that animal desire within me. And that animal desire went, because I trained myself not to use my intellect and temper that animal self with the intellect. And that's how, essentially what tazkiyat al-nafs is. The purification of the soul is exactly that. To avoid the temptations or to try and control the animal desire within myself. That desire that is unruly. Like, for example, I know there's a place where I shouldn't really talk. It's rude for me to talk in that particular place. But my aql, that's what my intellect is saying. It's rude for me to talk here. And if someone did this to me, I wouldn't be happy about it. My aql is saying that. My animal desire is saying, hey man, just talk, it's fine. There's no issue. Why they can't hear us, or he can't hear us, or let's just talk. Yeah, so you see that the intellect is saying, but when the animalistic desire of a human being is more powerful than their intellect, this is what is jahiliyyah. Ignorance, jahl, is this. That when the aql becomes, when the intellect becomes subservient to... Recite salawat, please. When the intellect becomes subservient to the animal desire of a person. So now the animal desire says, I want to do this action because it makes me feel good. The intellect says, no, you know what? It's rude. You shouldn't do that. But because the animal desire is stronger, it suppresses the intellect and leads to jahiliyyah. It leads to ignorance. People who go around murdering and killing, it's not intellectual. It's jahl. Because the intellect, the logic has been suppressed. And that's essentially what tazkiyat al-nafs is. It's to purify or to grab hold of the animal of the soul, that animal desire, and to temper it. The same way that you train an animal. You see how people train and you incentivize the training of animals. And it seems to be really trivial that we speak of it in such a way. But you see how people train dogs. They get them to walk along a certain way, and then they give them a treat. And they say, look, you did this, treat. And sometimes we have to treat our souls like that as well. Now he's telling us to treat ourselves like dogs. No, I'm not. It's the method. You don't have to act like a dog. It's the method. The method being that I don't want to pray Salat al-Layl, or my children don't want to pray Salah on time. I incentivize it for them. You pray, you get this. If for the next month you pray all your Salah on time, I will buy you this. And this in itself is interesting. The sixth Imam says, and even I think Amir al-Mu'mineen has the same hadith, it says that for 40 days, if a person does something regularly for 40 days, it will become his habit and won't break. With great effort. And 40 itself is quite interesting, because they say that anything done before the age of 40, if you want to change your habits, change them before you reach the age of 40. Because after the age of 40, it will be very difficult to change those habits. If you want to make any sort of change in your life, do it. You can after the age of 40, but it becomes a lot more difficult. So that's tazkiyat al-nafs, like purifications. And the final step in that amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar was that we do it slowly. It's in stages. So what often happens is when we try and sort of bring about a change in a society, in our communities, people come in and they sort of say, no, this is what we're going to do from now. And then there's a rebellion. And people say, no, well, we're going to carry on the way that we were before. We used to do this, we're not going to change. But when you phase it into stages without people realizing, it happens. You see governments do it all the time around the world. It's simple psychology. What do? You all of a sudden announce that fuel prices are going to be this high. And people protest and they go crazy and everything. You say, okay, all right, no problem. We're just going to lower it then. We won't take it that high, but we have to take it to this high. That was the number they wanted to go for anyway. That was where they were going to take the level of taxation anyway. But sometimes when you make people speak out and you make people sort of rebel, then you can bring them down to another level. So it's stages. And the same with the nafs. What happens is the holy month comes and we start thinking that we're like super religious and we could do everything. So we start praying, we start doing tasbih, we start reciting Quran, we start doing everything, and we do 1 day, 3 days, 4 days. By the 5th day we're like, oh, forget this is not possible anymore. I can't do it anymore. And we do this, we have these phases, someone comes and they speak and we feel spiritually charged and we think it's great, and so then we start doing it and we start pushing ourselves, pushing, reciting Salat al-Layl, reciting this, reciting that, and then come like a week later and then slowly, okay, maybe I'll just leave this tasbih, a little bit of Quran left at the side, and before I know it I'm back to where I was. So, in order to train the animal of the soul, I need to incentivize it, and I need to do it gradually in stages. So let's take the example of Salat al-Layl. Salat al-Layl is based upon 11 rak'ah. The 4 first in units of 2, 8 rak'ah in units of 2, with the niyyah of Salat al-Layl. The second 2 rak'ah, which have no qunut in them, a unit of 2, is Salat al-Shifa. And then after that, there is 1 rak'ah that is known as Salat al-Witr. Salat al-Witr is the heart and the soul of Salat al-Layl. But they say if you can't do all 11 rak'ah, if all 11 rak'ah are too difficult for you, because the soul is not used to it. Yeah, it's like when you go to the gym after so many months, or after a year, and then you pick up the weight and you think, oh, you know what, I still got it in me. I can do this. And so I start lifting that really heavy weight and I think, you know what, I've still got it in me. And then I put it down, I feel great. The next day, my muscles are all locked up and I can't move, and I've got the delayed onset of muscle soreness, and I can't straighten my arms and everything's aching. And because the body's like, what are you doing? We were fine before you started this craziness. And it's trying to tell you, look, what are you doing? And you've got to force yourself through it and keep on developing, going a little bit heavier every time. And the soul's the same. The muscle of the soul isn't used to doing all of this hard work of praying and doing this. So then what happens is we do it, and it retracts, and it's like, whoa, what are you doing? You need to sleep, you have work in the morning. Why are you waking the kids up for Fajr? No, they have school. Because then by that time, now I know if I don't have to wake them up, then I can sleep in a little bit. And, it's fine. Or then, I just know I've got work in the morning. If I wake up and start reciting Salat al-Layl, as well as Fajr, my work's going to suffer. This is not me. This is the nafs, the animal within. It's trying to find the easy route. It's trying to wean its way out of ubudiyyah, out of servitude, because ubudiyyah is difficult. Ubudiyyah is a strain for it. So we ease into it. So 11 rak'ah of Salat al-Layl, I can't recite all 11 because I need to ease myself in. So what they say is, okay, remove the 8 rak'ah of Salat al-Layl. There is mustahab salah, so you can chop and change. Remove the 8 rak'ah of Salat al-Layl, only recite the 2 rak'ah of Salat al-Shifa and the 1 rak'ah of Salat al-Witr. Then you say, you know what, even that's too difficult. So you say, okay, no problem. Get rid of the 8 rak'at of Salat al-Layl, remove the 2 rak'at of Salat al-Shifa, and just recite the 1 rak'at of Salat al-Witr. Then we say, you know what? That's one rakat of Salat al-Witr. That's the main problem. You know, because in that qunut, after I've recited 3 times Qul Huwallah, Surah Al-Falaq, then Surah Al-Nas, then I'm in the qunut, and in that same qunut, now I have to recite the names of 40 mu'mineen. Allahumma gfir li fulan, Allahumma gfir li fulan. I have to recite those 40 names. Then 70 times Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu alayh. Then 7 times Hadha maqamul a'idhi bika min al-nar. Then 300 times Al-Afwa. That's the problem. That's what's taking me so long. Because I don't know how, 300 times, oh my God, I have a heart attack when someone tells me to recite 100 Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh on Laylatul Qadr. So then say, okay, fine. If you cannot recite the 1 raka'ah of Salat al-Witr in its totality, it says reduce the dhikr. You can't recite it. You can't recite all the dhikr in the qunut, then reduce it. Reduce the amount. So you can't do 70, come down to 35. You can't remember 40 mu'mineen, remember as many as you can. If you can't even do that, Allahumma gfir lil mu'mineen wal mu'minat. No problem. You can't do 300 al-af, come down to 100 al-af. Even if that's too difficult for you, or you don't have the time, they say no problem. Just recite the Salat al-Witr, do the qunut, recite salawat, and finish. It's classified as your Salat al-Layl. It's mustahab. Can't stand and do it, no problem, sit down and recite it. Can't be bothered to stand and sit, no problem, fine, sit down. No problem. You want to recite the mustahabbat? Soul won't allow you to, no problem, walk around the streets, it's fine. It's mustahab salah. You can be at home cooking and reciting salah at the same time. Use your eyes to make the actions. 2 rak'ah salah, qurbatan ila Allah. Watch how close you get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can just do it, make the niyyah. Face qibla, do the takbir and then recite. Walk the streets, recite the salah. No problem. In your head, imagine the ruku'. While you're driving, obviously don't do the eye thing when you're driving. I wouldn't, obviously when you're in sajda, close your eyes, subhana rabbiyal a'la wa bihamdihi, driving, not conducive to a safe driving environment. So I wouldn't do that, but you can use your finger to make the actions. But that's how easy it is. Like Salat al-Layl is so important that it is the only mustahab salah that you can recite qada of. If you missed it, they say no problem, recite the qada of it. That's how important it is. And so many different benefits of it. We haven't got time for that, but we'll go into it later on another day about what the benefits of Salat al-Layl are. Coming to today's topic. I've taken hikmah number 54 of Nahjul Balagha, where Amir al-Mu'mineen says 4 things. We're going to look at the first thing tomorrow, and the remaining 3 things we'll look at. We're going to look at the first thing today, and then the remaining 3 we'll look at tomorrow. See, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, قَدْرُ رَجُلٍ عَلَى قَدْرِ هِمَّتِهِ. The worth of a man and woman, the worth of a man and a woman is according to his ambition. Simple. The value of a human being, of a man or a woman, is based upon their ambition, is according to their ambition. However great your ambition, that's how much better your worth will be. See, various things increase in value. When you look at the worth of material things, you go to buy a house and you're like, no, this is in a good schooling district. This is safe. Or this is near, natural beauty, so the price goes up. Yeah, because it's in a sought after area. Or you go to buy a car and you say, no, well, this one, it has reverse parking sensors, it has a reverse camera, it has massage seats, it has fuel economy is not even a problem for you guys over here. Your fuel's so cheap, I don't even know why anyone worries about it. Come try $8 a gallon, in England. So, so for you, fuel economy is not a problem. Drive your 5-6 litre cars, it's okay. But you look for other things, right? You look like, okay, fine. parking sensors, seat mats, all of these things. And so when you look for those things, the value of that car also increases. It's because the car itself has more worth to it. And that works with everything. You go to buy a phone and you're like, this is the hardware it's got in it. Or, this is how much RAM it's got. This is how many things it's got. Or then if you look at it, from a younger perspective, this is how great a selfie it can take. The selfie camera is this good, and it's integrated with my Snapchat and my Facebook and my Twitter, and everyone can see what I'm getting up to with my face like a dog in my Snapchat filter. Everyone can see it, and it's going to be so much more sharper with this phone. Everything is linked. Everything's value is linked to its ability or to the inherent things, the inherent benefits it brings to you. And self-worth, a person's self-worth is what brings happiness. Because that's what we're trying to look at. We're looking at the concept of happiness. What will bring happiness in our lives? Some people get happy from eating. So they said food makes me happy. Some people get happy with coffee. There's various things that make people happy. If it's not too much bother, if I could ask people just to move forward, so then anyone who's coming doesn't have to hop over everyone's head. Recite Salawat. So you keep on coming. Usually there's like a force field. You see people they don't want to come anywhere closer. Don't worry, come closer, it's not a problem. I won't attack you. So a person's self-worth, that's what brings happiness in their life. The way that they look at themselves, their self-esteem. When someone doesn't have any self-worth, where a person doesn't think of themselves to be, of any sort of inherent value, that's when they become upset. I never achieved anything in life. I never got my degree, or I never got a master's. I never did this. I wish I could have done this. How I wish, how I wish, how I wish. Please recite salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So a person's self-worth is linked to, and many people have they're upset about their lives. They say, well, I didn't achieve this, I didn't achieve that, I didn't, those years have gone past, I could have done this, and now I've lost it. And I'm upset with myself. And so they walk around with this sense of sadness, of what if, if only. And they lose their self-worth. And when they lose their self-worth, they enter into this spiral of sadness. And that spiral of sadness then enters into things like depression and other such mental health illnesses, notwithstanding clinical issues, of course. So then, the person enters into this spiral of, being upset about themselves. So how is it that a person improves their self-worth? What is it that a person can do to become happy? And that is to increase your self-worth. Increase the way, or look at yourself in a better way. Have that ambition, or look at yourself in a different light. And in order to do that, Amir al-Mu'mineen in Hikmah number 54 gives us the answer. He says that the worth of a man is according to his ambition. The more ambitions you have, the more plans and the direct. Now this is different from Tulul Amal. Tulul Amal, like long far-fetched hopes. That in Islamic narrations has been, that person's been cursed, or that is, it's a person that will end up in a downward spiral to hell. The person that plans their whole life, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to buy this, then I'm going to get this, then my kids are going to do this, and it says that point, that is a reprehensible characteristic. That's a reprehensible characteristic. But ambition is something different. The reason why Tulul Amal is reprehensible, it's something that should be avoided, it's something that is not good, is because a person forgets death in it. And there isn't any real development of the person. It's just airy-fairy. It's just all up in the air. Whereas ambition is something different. Ambition is what drives a person. It makes a person become slightly better. It wants a person, it drives a person to change, to be better, to improve. And with it, their self-worth also improves. So Amir al-Mu'mineen said, the worth of man is according to his ambition, the struggle, that which he does to become better. And we have a lot of various du'as that speak about this idea of having high ambitions. In a du'a from Imam al-Sajjad, salawatullah wa salamuhu alayhi, the Imam, he speaks about it, he says, "Oh Allah, I ask you for the most fair witnessing. I ask you for the most active worship, and I ask you for the highest of ambition." The highest of ambition. So all of these, see, one of the things that we do is we often sell ourselves short even when we come to do dua. See, when we come to even ask for our du'as, we sort of ask for trivial things. We start saying, "Oh Allah, I've got this problem, and could you, if you could just sort me out with $1,000, it'd be great." Not saying, "Oh Allah, make me needless. Make me rich beyond my beliefs, but not forgetting you." All of those things, they add. As long as Allah is there, there's no problem. What we do is in a different way, shape or form, we restrict our dua. So for example, in Dua Makarim al-Akhlaq, Imam al-Sajjad, the opening lines of the dua is, "Oh Allah, give me akmal al-iman. Make my iman, give me the perfection of iman." Because if you're chasing perfection and you fall short, at the very least you'll have achieved excellence. But if you're only going for a mediocre existence and you just want to pass, if you fall short, you're going to end up in hell. As I was telling the younger brothers earlier today in our session, that the various things that will happen in hell. And so the du'as of Ahl-ul-Bayt, they're speaking about, ask me for the perfection, ask me for the attainment, let me be the best. There's nothing wrong with saying, I want to be the best at something. It's not good enough to be just mediocre. No, rather a person pushes himself to become the best. And it's all dependent on what you are working for and what your aim and purpose is behind what your ambition is. If my ambition is to be the world's biggest drug dealer, then that's not really going to help me in my future life. But it's all like, that ambition, what am I working towards in my life? Then that becomes ibadat. Some people just work towards the material, the car, the house, food. People say, "What do you work?" "Oh, I'm just doing this so I can put food on my table." People often say that. And we have hadith in regards to it. So Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says, the person whose sole concern is what enters his stomach, the person whose sole concern doesn't care about anything. His ambition in life is just what he's going to put in his stomach, what he's going to buy to eat. Now this person is what we know now a foodie. This is the type of person that wants to go out and take a picture of their food on Instagram so that everyone knows what they're eating. Or they want to take a picture of the food, and that's all they live for, taking a picture of their food. Everyone's been out with that person, right? Or am I just the only one? Maybe I got bad friends. We sit down to go and eat, and they're like, wait, let me take a photo first, so I can show everyone what I'm eating. So says the person whose very existence, ambition in life is around what he wants to eat. All he says is, I just work to eat. He says that person whose ambition in life is only to fill his stomach, his worth is what he will release after eating that food. That's what Imam Ali says. His worth is equivalent to what he will digest and excrete. says that's the person. So if this is only his wealth, then he's equivalent to that. In another narration, he says, how far is good, good things from the person whose sole concern is his stomach and fulfilling his desires. There's a worst individual, cursed is an individual whose only concern is how to fulfill their desires and what they're going to eat. It's just to give in to what the soul wants from them, what the nafs wants from them. And what is it what is important in a person's life? When we analyze our own lives, because these lectures are about analyzing our own lives. Like, if I can't achieve happiness, but then is it because I've got my priorities wrong? Am I the type of person that says, I will miss Fajr because I have to go to work early and I don't want to be tired for work? Or no, my kid's got an exam tomorrow, so we're not going to wake him for Fajr, or we're not going to wake her for Fajr. See, what we're doing is we're creating a nation of people who have no inclination towards the religion in their most formative years. Those of you that have studied or have read into child psychology will know that from 0 to 8, even from the time the child is in the womb, from the point of conception, we have research to say that the fetus is cognizant, even before it's a fetus, it is cognizant of what is happening around it. From that point until the time it is 8, the mind is a sponge. Whatever you tell it, whatever you instill within it, the child is a slave at that point. From that, when they start hitting that age of 8, they allow them to explore while they're young. But then as they start to get older, now start to mold them, start to teach them, start to develop them, showing them these are the boundaries of Islam. Not that, now you've come to the mosque, you can run around and jump off everything and take a somersault off the food table and, it's fine, it's okay, he's still young. Oh, we have to set boundaries. The Imams didn't say, some people take it literally. They say, no, up until the age of 6 or 7, he is a prince. Let him do anything. And so then what do you end up having? Not princes, but people, children that will not listen, cannot comprehend anything. Because no boundaries have been set for them. It is human nature that boundaries be set. Allow them to explore within the boundaries that you have set. Not that you let them free for all and disrespect whoever they want and pick up food and eat it and throw it at whoever they want. No. Boundaries must be set when they are cognizant, when they're able to, understand. You set those boundaries. Not that, let them explore and do whatever. That is, but within boundaries. Otherwise, later on, it's a problem. So is our desire, to eat certain foods, is desire that I want to eat certain foods. I'm driven by eating these certain foods, even if I have to go to a place that sells alcohol. Is that how my life is run? Is that how I set my own life? It is, I want to pray Salatul Layl, but I know when I wake up I'm too tired. And so, I'm just not going to pray. What is it that we're driving towards? What is it that we're doing? What is it that our lives, or how are we developing our lives? And Amir al-Mu'mineen is saying it's all based on that ambition. Everything that you do, what is your ambition in life? What do you want to achieve? The greatest of ambitions is to be in the proximity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you look at the Holy Quran, the surah of ambitions is Surah Al-Kahf. Because you look at Ashab al-Kahf, you look at Hazrat Zulqarnain, with his army, and he's going around and he's conquering half the world. The ambition, the desire. You look at Hazrat Musa and Khizr within that. Hazrat Musa's desire to learn, his ambition to gain more knowledge, forces him to swallow his own pride of his own knowledge and go to Khizr to learn. It's all about ambition. What a person's ambition. And then what do we use this ambition for? We have hadith that say, use your ambition, this ambition to be a better person, to work towards the akhirah. So yes, you want to develop your business, but use it as a means towards the akhirah. You know, Amirul Mu'mineen, someone stands in front of Amirul Mu'mineen and begins to curse the dunya. And then Amirul Mu'mineen gives a whole khutbah where he says the dunya is not bad. Even though he says, Ya dunya warri ghayri, oh dunya, go and deceive someone else. But he's saying the dunya is not bad. When Ali says, I have divorced you 3 times, it is from the attachment to the dunya. He says you must live in the dunya. You must use the dunya as a stepping stone for your akhirah. It doesn't say sit in one place under a rock and just pray all the time. It says no, go out and get involved in society. When you get out and go out and get involved in society, you'll be questioned. Your faith will be tempered. You will develop, and then you'll have the temptations. Should I do this thing in business? Should I not? Because I know I want to reach my first million or my 2 million. I want to, float on the stock market, or I want to do this. But along the way, if I, for example, hide this illegally, I could get there a lot quicker. But if I say, no, I'm not going to cheat, I'm not going to lie, and even if it takes me longer, now that journey towards me becoming, of my company floating on the stock exchange, now becomes a journey and an addition to the akhirah, becomes a supplement to my journey towards Allah. But if I don't, then it will drag me towards hell. So what is my ambition? What am I going to do? And there's various examples throughout history of people with high expectations, high ambition, and that became immortal. And for the akhirah, one of the examples, and I'm only going to give you one example, and again, we're going to have to finish this off tomorrow, because I just don't have enough time, is that you have the example of the companion of the Holy Prophet, Abdullah Zil-Bajadain. Yeah, he's one of the companions of the Holy Prophet. He's known as Zil-Bajadain because he only had 2 pieces of cloth to wear on his body. That's it. He was from amongst the richest members of the family, like from one of the richest families from the tribe. When he converted to Islam, his uncle said, if you choose to follow this religion, we'll cut off all your money. He used to have the nicest shoes, the narration said, nicest shoes, the nicest clothes. He would have them tailored, everything. His uncle said to him, if you choose to follow the religion of this man, we're going to cut everything off from you. He says, everything. He says, I'm not going to leave. He says, I'm not going to step away from this religion. This is truth. I'm not going to move away from it, no matter how much you try and bribe me. Said, no problem. Says to him that, okay, leave the house. You have no house. So they kicked him out. Then they said to him that, wait, the clothes you're wearing on your body, we bought them for you from our money. Take them off. They send him out naked. Left everything. Humiliated, everything, all gone. For the sake of what? A religion. And Abdullah is that individual that he comes to the Holy Prophet. The rest of his life only wears 2 pieces of cloth. He says, I don't need it. If they've taken everything away from me, then I don't need it. Began to live in the masjid amongst all the other poor people. From one of the elites of society. Is not something easy to have everything. To be and have anything that you want, to buy whatever you want, to be in that position to not even having enough money to buy clothes. So you're having to wrap yourself in pieces of cloth. He comes, and the only one dua, the narration says, he says to the Prophet, is there no war and no battle that I can go to so I can achieve shahadat? Can I achieve martyrdom in some way, shape or form? The Prophet says, no war. Would you want us to, sisters, be patient, be patient. The Battle of Tabuk comes. Now the Battle of Tabuk is known as the Battle of Tabuk because no swords were unsheathed. No battle actually took place. The Holy Prophet turned up with the army, the people surrendered. In this, Abdullah is with them. In this army of those, as they're moving away, as they're coming away from that place, he dies before even this battle starts, before anything happens. He falls ill along the way and he dies. And because he dies, the Holy Prophet takes his body and he brings it out, and the Holy Prophet digs his grave, the Holy Prophet buries him. And then the Holy Prophet says, "Oh Allah, bear witness that I am satisfied with him and you be satisfied as well." He's classified from amongst the shuhada. Ambition. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll look at the rest of the examples that I have. Pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives our sins, forgives the sins of our parents. Those of our parents that are alive, we pray that Allah keeps them alive and gives them long lives and healthy lives. Oh Allah, those who are ill, give them shafa'ah. Those who are in debt, clear their debts. Oh Allah, hasten the reappearance of the Imam of our time and allow us to be amongst his true muttadreen, his true waiters, for the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as the brothers and sisters abroad. Please recite 3 loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.